Linda Wirtz. I'm Paul Wirtz's wife, and I'll be the audience today.
Good morning, Professor Bryant, and to my fellow classmates. This is session 3 from Informative Speech Outline with PowerPoint presentation. Here is my cover page. This is my cover page. The title of my presentation today is called The Peter Pan Syndrome. My general goal is to reveal what an article reported, what seems to be a growing problem in our culture, the study of males who are immature and have no idea on how to be a man. My specific goal is to identify a way to steer young people away from this problem that can hurt them in the long run. This is my attention getter. My attention getter is, he sat in the middle of the floor and cried like a little girl because his wife accidentally deleted his video games. How do you spot a little boy in a grown man's body? What are the signs that reveal immaturity in a man? Today, I want to explore what is known as the Peter Pan Syndrome. According to Dr. Dan Kali in his book, quote, The Peter Pan Syndrome, Men Who Have Never Grown Up, unquote, Kali, D., 1983. The Peter Pan Syndrome is a pop psychology term used to describe an adult who is socially immature. The term has been used by both lay people and psychology professionals in popular psychology since the 1983 publication of Dr. Dan Kali's book. Introduction. This syndrome is important because it affects all sectors of our society. And here is why. Our nation, our communities, our churches, and our homes are only as strong as its weakest link. All throughout human history, every generation and every movement towards civilization have achieved this progress by strong men and women, people who were willing to endure hardship and sacrifice to be the world changers that they were. Let's take this nation of ours, for example. We are, or at least we were known as, a superpower nation around the world. That reputation was established because mature men and women were willing to risk their lives for what they believed in. They were not the type to complain about the disadvantages that they were born under. They believed in a cause and mission, and with vision, tenacity, and determination, they achieved the impossible. Credibility. I have seen this syndrome at work in a lot of men. And by the way, according to this article, this syndrome can be seen in women also, but it is mostly prominent in men. And what an awful syndrome it is, the Peter Pan Syndrome. My thesis statement. My thesis statement is, the Peter Pan Syndrome is a growing phenomenon in our nation. Men who don't want to grow up and be men. This is my body. Main point 1. These are some of the symptoms of the Peter Pan Syndrome. They cannot handle conflict. They still dress like a kid. He's high or drunk most of the time. His priorities are skewed. He doesn't want to do his share of house cleaning, and you can't rely on him. According to Winter, July 22nd, 2020, quote, 7 signs your man suffered from the Peter Pan Syndrome, unquote. In relationship terms, it can be harsh to come to the realization that the man you thought you were dating is really an avoidant, simpering man-child who refuses to get his act together, unquote. That is a problem with the Peter Pan Syndrome. These men refuse to grow up. Here are some more symptoms of the man who is a practicing Peter Pan. Adulting stresses him out. Again, referring to the above article, quote, The economy is crap. Job stress gets everyone. Debt accumulates, and health issues are inevitable. All of these causes Mr. Man Boy to regress to a state of emotional adolescence. So you're left with a bearded teenager who's spent his income on drugs or action figures instead of bills and groceries, unquote. Winner, June 22nd, 2020. My second main point. Main point 2, this Peter Pan syndrome can be traced back to his parents. He may have had overprotective parents, parents who coddled him and never allowed him to grow up. They may have done everything for him and never gave him any responsibilities. His mother may have done his laundry all of his life, always cleaned up after him. Maybe she always picked up after him and let him always do whatever pleased him without any accountability. Thus he never had to grow up and become a man. He may have never had a man figure in his life to model what a real mature man looks like. All little boys need a father figure in their lives, and sometimes the absence of a father can be the problem. If all he has ever had is his mother and never a father or a man figure around the house, that is a surefire way of not growing up. But this is not always the case, but it is a possibility. In his article, Michael Jackson, The Death of Peter Pan, Corliss, June 26, 2009, states, Jackson's life was never, ever normal. For a celebrity of his magnitude, to be seen is to be smothered. To be a star is to be a freak. And to be loved is to be absurd. Unquote. This statement reveals that proper parenting is essential to allowing boys to mature in a natural way to become a man. This is my conclusion. We have seen the effects of the Peter Pan syndrome, and this is a growing phenomenon in our nation. Men who don't want to grow up. My main point review. In review, the Peter Pan syndrome can ruin relationships and make life difficult for spouses and many other relationships. It can cause conflicts in the home. It can lead to the breakup of a family. It can weaken the security of our nation, our communities, and our churches. The clincher. This is my clincher. I think about what the Apostle Paul says when he stated, quote, when I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put the ways of childhood behind me. NIV 2011, 1 Corinthians 13, 13:11, period. This is my reference page. These are all my references. Thank you.